Welcome back to the Deep Dig of Sports Pod. I'm your host, D, and today we are discussing the college football playoff matchup between Ohio State and Texas. And this is going to be a barn burner. But before we dig into that, be sure to hit that like button, be sure to subscribe, drop some comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Just let's dig right into it. Ohio State versus Texas. This is a mega matchup. This is blockbuster. This is get your popcorn ready. I'm so excited for this. I mean, both games realistically from the semifinals are going to be good, but I think this one has the either boom or bust of the two matchups. I think we're going to see a pretty even match between, or everyone's expecting a pretty even matchup between Penn State and Notre Dame. I think this game could either be a 5-score blowout or this could be a game of the year. So Texas is coming off of a really good game against Arizona State. They ended up getting pushed to overtime. And realistically, it was a wonky one. It was one where it was very inconsistent. I mean, it was the microcosm of the entire Texas season where it's inconsistent. It looks like they're going to run away with everything. It looks like everything's going like pretty well. Everything's coming up Texas. Then after the second half, it becomes the Cam Scattaboo show. He does everything. He runs for one. He throws one. He catches them. He's doing all these different things. And on the other side of the ball, Texas just can't get things moving. It just seems like Quinn Ewers just forgets how to play quarterback and can't really figure it out. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Then it gets to overtime and all of a sudden Quinn Ewers remembers how to play football and he looks great again. He ends up getting Texas the win. And it's like, what is going on with Tech? Like, this was the story of Texas the entire year, just up and down. Hey, are they really looking that good? Well, they get blown out by Georgia the first time. The second time around, they still lose to Georgia, but it looks a lot better. Quinn Ewers is up and down. Quinn Ewers is hurt. Arch Manning comes in. Arch Manning looks like Arch Manning, which is crazy. And it's like one of those things where there's rumblings going around about Quinn Ewers. Apparently, there's rumors that he's going to hit the portal. There's all of these things going on. But all of that could be silenced if they go out there and beat this giant in Ohio State. And on the other side, their season has been crazy as well. I mean, realistically, this looked like the number one team in college football for a good portion of it. You couldn't crown them number one because they hadn't beat Oregon yet. But then they go and they lose at home to Michigan. The Buckeyes then turn around their season. They get a crazy blowout win against Tennessee, which people were very surprised by. And they turn around and do it again to the number one seed in Oregon. And now it's looking like if this Ohio State team even plays their B plus team, they could beat any team in the country as of right now. But you still have the ghost of, okay, what happened in that Michigan game? What happened the first time at Oregon? Like, how can we figure these things out? And it feels like they've already done that. And so it feels like it's theirs for the taking. As long as they're just consistent, they have the same game plan that they've done this past week and even in the Tennessee game, they will be good. But it's all about executing that, not getting too cute with it. Don't play into the opponent's strength as they did against Michigan. But I mean, realistically, I think this is this is the Buckeyes' chance to shine. They've already shown up major twice before in the first two rounds of this playoff, and they can continue to steamroll. And I think that this is just theirs for the taking. If they come out and play the way that they have been playing these past few weeks, it's all up to them. It is going to take a major performance from this Texas defense to stop them because it's not just Jeremiah Smith and Will Howard on the passing game. There is so many weapons that Will Howard's disposal, and he showed it off these past 2 weeks. And not just that, everyone is now forgetting about the running backs. These are top tier running backs for Ohio State. So I think it's going to be tough sledding for the Texas defense. I don't know if if they couldn't really contain Cam Scattaboo, how are you expecting to contain these two running backs that the Buckeyes have on top of not getting the lid blown off you from Jeremiah Smith? It's going to be a tough day for Texas defense. But There's a chance. I mean, realistically, if Quinn Ewers goes out there and plays his A game, which we haven't seen a whole lot of consistently, if he goes out there and plays his A game, this Texas team does have a lot of weapons as well. They play fast. We've seen them score with lightning quickness. It's going to be, again, as I said before, it is going to be a boomer bust game. I think that I could see this going, very easily, Ohio State blowout. I could see this being the game of the century and Texas somehow pulling off a last minute, hurrah game. But I don't see any way where Ohio State goes out there and just gets their doors blown off. I do not see that, especially with all the talent that they've had, with the performances they've put up these past 2 weeks. I think it's going to be no matter what, it'll be a good day for Ohio State. And so I think they end up getting the win. The keys for them to winning: don't play into Texas's strength. Try not to run up the middle as much. I think that you continue to rely on Will Howard, who hasn't had the mistakes that he's had these last few weeks. I mean, realistically, before that, watching Ohio State, you've seen him mess up quite a bit. He hasn't had that. Let's limit the mistakes. If you're Will Howard, limit the mistakes. You don't need to be Superman. You have everything else around you. If you're Chip Kelly, you game plan, just copy and paste the same stuff that you did against Tennessee, the same stuff that you did last week. Copy, paste, put that in the game plan. You don't have to worry about it anymore if you guys continue to play that way. From the Texas standpoint, if you can get a few stops and Quinn Ewers continues to play his A game the way that he played at the end of that Arizona State game, you have a puncher's chance to stay on it, because you already know that you have the weapons to keep up with this Ohio State team if you have the quarterback backing. So it's going to be an interesting one. At the end of the day, I don't think, from what I've seen, I can actually bet against the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think they end up taking it, but I'm very much hoping for at least a good game. I think that it could go either way. I don't want to say blowout, but the way that the Buckeyes have been playing lately, it might just be a blowout. Everything might just come to roost. It might just be an inconsistent Quinn Ewers day. And if that ends up happening, one thing to look at is, will Sark end up making the switch at quarterback and put in Arch Manning? We've seen him do it earlier in the year against Georgia when things weren't going well towards the end of the first half. He ended up making the switch to Arch Manning just to kind of see what they had available to them. Arch Manning also didn't look good behind that Texas offensive line. So I think that's just one thing to kind of look for is, okay, if things start to get out of hand, things start to snowball, how quick is that trigger to go to Arch Manning in one of these games? So just things to look out for. I think I'm excited for this couple of games of football. It's going to be exciting as we start to look towards who is going to be crowned a national champion. I'm excited. So let me know your thoughts on this game. Be sure to like, be sure to comment, and subscribe. All right. Later.